Okay, I'm going to try to finish reading chapter 1 of Don't Throw Away Your Tomorrows by Robert H. Schuller. And again, this was written, copyrighted in 2005. Alright. Where did I leave off? Give God 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, or more. Give God all the time He needs to bring the resources to you. Give God time, and the people, the craftsmen, the skill, the new inventions, the money will come. Don't throw away tomorrow. Recently, I was in Florida for a conference, so I stopped to see a friend from the television ministry. I visited him at work and discovered that he is a banker. In fact, he owns this bank, a small one, and it is his second bank. As a young man, he took a job as a janitor in the bank. He cannot claim exciting academic credentials, nor can he claim that he knows powerful and rich people, but he is a possibility thinker. He has read my possibility thinking books, and he embraces a positive faith that he says helped him dare to believe he could make his dreams for tomorrow come true. When he was a janitor in the bank, a wild, impossible idea came into his brain. Why don't you create your own bank? You can become CEO, become the president. All you need is the right ideas. So he took the leap of faith, and he founded a bank with $3 million that he collected here and there. It was amazing how he managed to put that all together when he didn't start out with the money or the resources. The bank grew, and he sold it for a very good profit, and now he's building a second bank where he is the executive officer. I met all of his top employees, 14 of them. They are mostly young people who have been with him for 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, and they love him. He treats them so generously that they don't want to work anywhere else. He is a positive thinker, believer, and he applies it in his business, in his ideas, and in his day-to-day work with his employees. Wow. If you're tempted to see only the shortfall, remember, God often doesn't give you what you need until you've stuck your feet in the water. It was when Moses put his feet in the water and Pharaoh's army was coming down to capture and kill him that the Red Sea was parted, and Moses and the people of Israel walked across to freedom. Don't throw away tomorrow. Get faith and let go of the doubt. Get into positive thinking and do away with the negative thinking. Get into possibility thinking. It might be possible if, it might be possible when, it might be possible with, it might be possible after, it might be possible however, but don't ever use the word impossible. Wow. With God, there's always a tomorrow. Adam and Eve blew it, and God watched them walk out of the garden in disgrace, losing their pride, their self-respect, their self-esteem. They walked out of the garden humiliated and dishonored. And as God watched them, God planned a tomorrow. Then there was a flood, but God, through Noah, planned a tomorrow. And God designed a rainbow with his promise that if you are going through a flood, and if you don't throw away tomorrow, you are going to have some wonderful surprises that you couldn't have expected during the storm. Believers around the world celebrate Easter. That's the tomorrow God planned for his people. We all need a vision of tomorrow, and when tomorrow comes, we must grasp it. Saturate your mind with positive thinking. Negative thinking will produce what it promises, nothing. Positive thinking will produce something, and life will be better for others and for you. And something will always win over nothing. Tomorrow, God will work wonders among you. Chapter 2. Start and succeed with optimism. Positive thinking plus possibility thinking equals optimism. To live God's dream for your life, you must have the optimistic attitude. Pessimists are afraid of tomorrow. Optimists never throw away tomorrow. You will need both positive thinking and possibility thinking to achieve fulfillment. Why? I'm often asked. I do seem to alienate between positive thinking and possibility thinking. Is there a difference? In my faith and my philosophy, there is a difference. It is the difference between attitude and action. Positive thinking comes first. It is a positive mental attitude that replaces a negative mental attitude or a lethargic mental attitude. Positive thinking sets the stage. Your dream is conceived, but at this point it is still only wishful thinking to go forward. Your mind must evolve from positive thinking into possibility thinking. In possibility thinking, the mental maneuvering moves from attitude ideas to action ideas. We make a commitment to create ways and means to make the dreams come true in reality. Positive thinking asks the question, is it possible? Possibility thinking asks the get ready to get going question, how can I make it happen? Possibility thinking puts wings and legs on positive ideas. But at the heart and soul of both positive and possibility thinking is the same powerful optimism. Optimism is the all-empowering attitude that unfailingly delivers the energy to start, to stay with it, or bounce back and start over again after disappointments. Stephanie, my teenage granddaughter, reminded me of all the times I said to her, what dreams would you have if you knew you would not fail? Let that plane go over. Oh yes, I answered. I often faced the reality that I might fail, but I never knew that I would fail unless I failed to try. I could never be an optimist if I didn't risk failure. I know that if I faced failure, I could turn it around and inside out so that even a failure turns into a valuable, positive experience. Stephanie, all through life, you will find yourself in different circumstances, and you will need to choose whether you are going to be a pessimist or an optimist. I choose to be an optimist. Sincere cynics often ask me, how can you be optimistic in a world infected with pain and problems? I'm addicted to optimism, I answer. I am basically a person with positive emotional charge. I make choices that hold the promise of creating more positive memories in my memory bank. My expanded positive memory systems creates a feedback loop, generating more positive emotions such as enthusiasm, hope, and faith. These happy, hopeful feelings make me feel strong. They assure me that I have the power to be creative through the best and worst times, beyond the power that it delivers to the subconscious, beyond the enthusiasm that it releases through a personality, and beyond the energy that it generates. Optimism attracts other positive people to us. Their friendship and support add another perspective layer to help us get through tough times. Positive people shun the pessimists, but are attracted to the optimists. They want to be part of the optimistic person's projects and dreams. When pessimism takes command in life or family, in an organization or an institution, thoughts of failure seep, and failure begins to take over. Pessimism saps energy and makes you feel old. Pessimism drives positive people away. Pessimism is a toxic soil where worry, fear, and anxiety sprout and choke life's dreams. Yes, pessimism chokes faith, pollutes positive thinking, and lets great dreams waste away in depression. What a pity. As Norman Cousins said, does anybody know enough to be a pessimist? One of the most inspiring women I have met has every reason to be a pessimist, but she chose to be an optimist instead. Renee Bondi was a beautiful, energetic, intelligent 29-year-old excited about both her singing career and her engagement to be married. She had the world at her fingertips with multiple options and a promising future. One night, a freak accident changed everything. Once in a night, she reported, I went to bed about 11 p.m. after what was a very ordinary, fun weekend. I had been dancing all night with my fiance. I went to bed feeling great. The next thing I knew, I woke up about 2 a.m., diving off the end of my bed onto my head. When I hit my head on the ground, I heard my neck go click, 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 and I finished the flip laying flat on my back. I had broken my neck. To this day, we have absolutely no idea what happened. I don't have a history of sleepwalking or any disease that would cause a seizure. I broke my neck and my life changed literally overnight. Fortunately, Renee did not have to lie on the floor long before she received help from her roommate, who mysteriously awoke and went to Renee's room to see if Renee was okay. Renee credits this to God's providence as an amazing statement in and of itself. Many people would look toward God with bitterness after such an accident. Yet because of her faith in God's care for her, Renee chose a positive mental reaction. "Who gets paralyzed falling out of bed?" she asked with the same amazement we all feel when we hear her story. I didn't realize I was paralyzed, so as I went to get back in bed, this pain pierced my neck. I tried to holler for my roommate, and all that came out was a whisper. I thought, oh my goodness, there's no way she's going to find me. She's sound asleep. But literally within a couple of minutes, the door opened and the light went on. My roommate was awakened out of sound sleep, deep sleep. I believe very strongly that the Holy Spirit woke her up. Renee soon found out that the doctor's prognosis was bleak. "You are quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down," they told her. "You'll never have use of your legs, and you'll never again have functional use of your arms or your fingers." As Renee listened to the neurologist and the neurosurgeons, denial seemed to be the only way to cope with the devastating news. It wasn't until she tried to sing again that the reality of her situation came crashing down on her. I was in the hospital for 5 months when a good friend of mine, a musician, came to visit me. He came in with a big smile and said, "Renee, I found a piano in the dining room. Let's go." So I went with him down the hallway in my wheelchair. Jim sat at the piano and started playing. I tried to sing. Every time I tried to sing, I kept getting dizzy. I started to black out. I couldn't sing. I started crying. My friend got up, dumped his head on my shoulder, and we just sobbed. I realized that the very expression of who I was, which was my music, had also been taken away from me. It was devastating. Renee's family filled the gap in her emotional needs as she went from being an independent woman to a person dependent on others for the most basic elements of life. "My siblings and my mom and my dad brought real special gifts to the table," she said. "Things like my dad welding a cup holder to be attached to my wheelchair so I could have the fluids that I needed every day. My sister and my brother providing my medical needs so that I would stay healthy, so that I wouldn't die. My mom doing my laundry and tailoring my clothes so that they would fit just perfectly when I sat in the chair. My students and their parents having great fundraisers, enabling me to purchase a wheelchair-accessible van. And of course, my fiance always by me to make sure I felt comfortable in the wheelchair, making me smile. All these things lifted me up and gave me the strength." And her positive Christian faith gave her the strength to remain optimistic. "I continued to pray during those really dark days, weeks, and months," she remembered. "I was able to see how God, through my family and all these peoples, was really the strength. They were God's hands helping me. It was the Lord through them saying, 'Be not afraid. I go before you always.'" This support gave Renee the ability to work hard in physical therapy. Her voice, which was at first only a whisper, slowly became stronger. As her voice became stronger, so did her spirit. A couple of years later, again with the same friend, I tried to sing. She continued, "Sure enough, here came my voice. I was singing. Now I know that the strength came from the Lord." Today, Renee enjoys the fruits of her optimism. Her voice fills the entire Crystal Cathedral as she performs regularly for our services. She still has only partial movement in her arms and remains a quadriplegic. Yet she is married and has a son whom she delivered naturally. She has recorded numerous albums and sings the most inspiring songs. Her optimism overflows and truly is contagious. Optimism or pessimism? It's your choice. Expect the best and you will get it. Expect the worst and you make it that. Why am I an optimistic? 1. I'm optimistic because I believe in a cosmic power that is intelligent and compassionate. God has given me a mission, and He has a mission for you too. That mission is my reason for living. It fills my life with meaning. It makes me alive with hope for the life waiting to be unfolded in the future. Yes, my faith in God gives me a divine imagination to envision a fruitful future filled with surprises of success. This vision of positive future flows back in a cycle, bringing even greater optimism. I was born into a strong Christian family. In my earliest years, I was led to believe that there was a supreme intelligence and a supremely affectionate core of divine reality in the spiritual universe. I was led to believe that this was God and that He had a plan for my life. I have a plan for your life, a plan to give you a future with hope, Jeremiah 29:11. I knew that if I followed God's plan, He would unfold it in my imagination. He would not let me fail. He who has begun a good work in you will complete it, Philippians 1:6. We live in a material universe, but I also believe we live in a spiritual universe with higher power that has a purpose for all life in creation. Plant and animal, fowl and fish, insects and microbes. All of life is ecologically integrated, and the human being alone has the divine gift of creative imagination, even the capacity to imagine the invisible, intelligent life form we call God. Number 2. I am an optimist just because I believe every person is important. Every person is a force in his or her own world with the capacity to influence surrounding people. Each person makes a difference to someone. Every positive person makes life better for those in his or her world. That gives enormous potential value to every life. I have value, provides a powerful physiological base for optimism. All persons have enormous value when they are connected with God. Early in my ministry, intelligent people who were not religious often scorned the idea that one God could connect with every single person on earth. But today, when that population has swelled to 6 billion, we understand that a computer chip the size of a stamp or coin can connect 6 billion bits of information. I no longer find intelligent scientists who ask me, how can one God connect with 6 billion people? I am an optimist because I am positive that the sun will rise tomorrow. I believe there is a future for us. Number 3. I'm an optimist because I am positive that the sun will rise tomorrow. I believe there is a future for us. That gives me power to choose to greet the rising sun with hope, because there has never before in history been another day like tomorrow will be. Babies will be born tomorrow, and as long as one new person is coming into the human family, there is no reason for anyone to be a total pessimist. Number 4, I am an optimist because I know that whatever happens tomorrow, I can make a hopeful and helpful difference. It's what I call the power of one. The power of one idea, the power of one decision, the power of one person. History is always shaped by one person with a vision. A few, then more, then finally many people are inspired, and movement is born. One person with an passion dream can change the world. I am an optimist. Number 5. I am an optimist because I see positive possibilities in every problem. Charles F. Boss Kettering, an inventor at General Motors, said to his colleagues, "Problems are the price of progress. Don't bring me anything but trouble. Good news weakens me." I was a teenager when I memorized the Bible verse, "All things work together for good to those who love God and keep His commandments," Romans 8:28. My professionalism has been to minister as a pastor, counselor to people facing problems with turmoil, suffering, and pain. For over 50 years as an optimist, I have been hearing people work through what they call problems. These problems have always turned out to be positive possibilities in disguise to persons who work their way from positive thinking through possibility thinking to unquenchable optimism. Problems are never real problems unless they cause you to take your eye off your goals. When a negative reaction threatens you, look over and beyond the problem. Give God time to work it out. Keep the faith, and you'll be surprised how your problem delivers unexpected blessings. Problems never become real problems unless we stop believing that God loves us. I have counseled thousands of people who went through the valley and unanimously have said, looking back, I wouldn't want to change the hard times. My scar has become a star. Number 6, I'm an optimist because I have come to believe that all problems are illusions. Whatever you do, don't throw away tomorrow because of a problem still left to be resolved or managed. To be solved, resolved, or managed. All problems are really decisions. They are often the stimulus to make new decisions. today that will Correct the mistakes you made yesterday. Yes, many problems are decisions that we have yet to make. The reason we call them problems is that we don't want to make the decisions, or we're afraid of making new and challenging decisions. When we confront the challenges with optimism, when we change the shape or the scope of that problem, allowing us to survive and thrive in the new tomorrows that are certain to be born. Dr. Schuller, a problem-burdened listener, said to me, "You're in denial when you say that problems don't exist and they're really decisions. What's the difference?" There's a huge difference. Using the word problem implies that the conditions are out of your control. That negative perception paralyzes positive thinking as well as possibility thinking. But if problems are, in reality, decisions waiting to be made, then the awesome, immeasurable power of the human spirit can be released in redemption reaction. Let me read that again. But if problems are, in reality, decisions waiting to be made, then the awesome, immeasurable power of the human spirit can be released in a redemptive reaction. And you and I always, yes, always have the freedom to decide, what will I allow this problem to do to my spirit? You can ask. I have the freedom to choose how I will react to this pain. You can say, I can make the positive decision to turn my pain into gain and an obstacle into opportunity. Okay, I'm going to pause page 27, verse 7. Oh my goodness, I wasn't even holding. Oh goodness. Thank you, Jesus, for a beautiful sunset. I hope this recorded and I hope the sound is okay. In Jesus' name.